Welcome back to the What We Said podcast. It's Buttercup here, and I'm here with Bubbles and Blossom, aka Beth and JC.
Hello, everyone.
Beth is here with us today. She's our third member. We've been wanting to do this Powerpuff. I keep saying Powerpuff.
If you say Powerpuff one more time,
I'm sorry.
Okay, well, let's get into these spooky stories. Beth is going to see herself out because she's already read all these stories. Mm-hmm. And we're like, well, you already know what they're all about.
I do know how it ends.
Reactions.
Yeah.
All right, ladies.
I'll go first. Hi, JC, Chelsea, and Beth. I love you girls so much. Listen, since the first episode, I've been so excited for the Halloween episode to come around this year because what I'm about to tell you shook me to my core.
Oh, no.
So last summer, I had my first episode. I'm already scared and nothing's happened. I had my first episode of what might have been sleep paralysis. Oh. Wait, have you ever had sleep paralysis?
No.
I haven't either, and it sounds absolutely horrifying. I know people say that sleep paralysis can be extremely realistic, which was true, but it was what happened the days after my sleep paralysis that made me think it might have been something more.
Oof.
Last summer, I was staying at my parents' house, an old Victorian home, that's already giving me bad vibes, in Connecticut, built in the 1800s. Throughout my childhood there, I experienced some weird things like objects being moved, hearing voices at night, and TV channels changing without touching the remote. But that was nothing compared to what happened this one summer night. You know what? I feel like that's like the classic home in all horror movies.
The Victorian?
Yep.
100%.
And kind of far away from their neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sorry, excuse me. I remember waking up in the middle of the night in my childhood bedroom on my side, completely unable to move. I saw a dark figure across the room from my bed, around 6 feet tall, covered in a dark cloak with long, stringy hair.
Ew.
I remember being absolutely terrified as the figure came closer to me, and I could hear the sound of its bare feet creaking the wooden floorboards below. I was completely frozen in fear as the figure bent down to my ear and said,
No, it did not.
"Hi, Catherine."
No, it did.
The fact that it said my name was so terrifying. It's a sound I'll never forget. To my horror, the figure rolled up its sleeve to unveil long, pale hands with even longer fingernails.
Me.
It's JC. Okay.
It's always the pale, I'm telling you.
So I was like, ooh, creepy and pale. Like nothing scarier than pale skin. Okay. Okay. I gotta catch my breath. When I laugh now, because my stomach, I feel like is huge, it like crushes my lungs and I wheeze now.
Oh no.
It's so cute. Okay. It took its pointer fingernail and ran it from my chin down my neck to my chest.
Ew.
I remember being able to feel the sharp scratch as it dragged its finger down. I have never been more scared in my entire life. What happened after that is a blur, but I do remember going in and out of consciousness for the rest of the night. Terrifying images playing in my mind.
Oh yeah, no more sleep that night for me.
No, also you can't move. Okay, now here's the part that really freaked me out. Oh.
Sorry, that wasn't enough?
She's like, that was nothing. The days following the sleep paralysis, I found myself having trouble breathing because of an intense pain in my chest. I would have to lay down for hours, breathing shallowly, while I winced in pain. If I moved too quickly, a pain like a knife was going through my lungs, shot through my body. I went to the doctor after about 3 days of this, thinking I pulled a muscle or I had some other terrible disease. I was looked up by the doctor and x-rayed by 2 specialists, but they found absolutely nothing. They had no way of explaining why there was such a terrible pain in my chest because I looked perfectly healthy. The pain persisted for about 2 more weeks and finally faded away. I can't help but think that it has a connection to the encounter I had with the dark figure that one summer night in my haunted old childhood home. Love you girls, and let's hope I'm never haunted again. That's terrifying. Literally cast a spell on your chest.
Oh, wow. That did give me a dark, dark feeling.
I'm already scared to go to bed tonight.
Same.
I'm scared to drive home.
Yeah, have fun with that.
Come with me.
JC and Chelsea, obviously I'm obsessed with you, your dogs, and your podcast, but who isn't? It is creepy how much I know about you and how invested I am in your in your life, but the real creepy story is this. I was 16-year-old and babysitting for a family that I went to church with. I'd been watching these kids for about a month now, so I knew the kids in the house pretty well. They had 4 kids that all slept upstairs. The 2 youngest were 4 and 5-year-old girls who had a habit of running into each other's rooms at night after I put them to bed so that they could play. An hour after I had put them to bed, I heard giggling coming from upstairs, so I went up to tell the girls to go back to their own rooms. I started walking toward the room that the talking and giggling was coming from, but when I opened the door, the 4-year-old was sitting there by herself and in mid-sentence. I look around the room and see nobody. I say, Keiki, her nickname. Who are you talking to? She looks at me pretty confused and points to the empty corner of her room and says, George. I turn my head to where she's pointing, and the nightlight, lamp, and closet lights shut off. I get a horrible feeling.
No, Keiki.
No to that. I get a horrible feeling that we are not alone, and so I quickly tell Keiki she needs to go to bed and start to shut her door. As I'm walking,
her in there?
Yeah. She's like, you need to go to bed. I'm terrified. As I'm walking out, she yells in between giggles that George doesn't want her to sleep. I hurried back downstairs and started panicking as I think about all the times she mentioned her friend George when we were alone in the car, at dinner, around the house, etc.
I'm feeling so scared. I'm so scared.
Have I literally been hanging out with some creepy spirit? I say a prayer and try to calm down, but then I hear a literal stampede coming from upstairs. Even if all 4 of the kids were out of bed and running around, it would not have made this much noise. I slowly walk upstairs, and when I get there, all I see is Keiki standing in the middle of the hallway alone, cackling, screaming her head off, laughing.
I'm gonna cry.
I'm literally crying. I'm terrified. At a loss for words, I stand there for a few seconds and then politely ask her to go back to her room. Instantly, she stops laughing, looks at me with a blank face. She looks to her left as if to look for approval and then says, okay, good night, Marley. Major Chucky vibes.
Who's Marley?
I think her name's Marley.
I'm like, okay.
A new ghost.
Major Chucky vibes?
Major Chucky vibes, she says.
She's like, worst of all, she looked so pale.
She's like, and her pale hands were all I could focus on. Okay. I run downstairs and lock myself in the bathroom. I'm singing church songs, saying prayers, watching church videos.
Catch me singing I Am a Sunbeam.
Yeah. Jesus wants me for a sunbeam. I'm going to be turning on conference at that moment. I cannot shake the feeling that the kids and I are definitely not alone in this house. I barely peek my head out of the bathroom and suddenly all the doors in the large house open and slam shut. I just about peed myself and I'm bawling my eyes out.
What?
I slam the bathroom door and yell whatever prayer thing I've heard people say when casting out a spirit. I stay in the bathroom until the parents come home and tell them I would not be able to babysit anymore. I never went back after that. A haunted house and a little girl with a ghost for a best friend, simply not interested.
That sounds insane.
That sounds like a scary movie.
That gave me the worst feeling.
Also, y'all better not be playing with us.
No, I was gonna say.
And our emotions.
Sometimes
it's like it's already so crazy, and then they're like, and then I looked out and all the doors open. I'm like,
yeah,
okay, I'm not trying to. I believe your story, but
I'm not trying to invalidate you.
Yeah, but
I don't believe you.
Ever since the girl wrote in about switching her baby, I have had doubts. Okay, but that sounds like the most horrifying night I could imagine.
No, Keiki.